everyone, it's Tricia. I'm coming to you today with this video about animal communication. And so the first thing I want to say about animal communication is you are an animal communicator. And that's right. Whether you believe it or not, or whether you know it or not, you are able to communicate with animals. And actually not only animals, people too, but this video and recording is about talking to animals. And not only do you have the ability or the capacity to speak with animals, you do speak with animals. I'm really glad that you're watching or listening, however you're catching this, because I created this recording so that I could get a particular message out. See, the thing is, I realized that in animal communication sessions or just generally in conversations with people or friends that have animals, love animals, I kept giving the same advice over and over. And so I figured, well, this must be some information that could really help a lot of people and, of course, a lot of animals. So I'm going to give you some tips about how you can better communicate with your animals. And before I do, though, I think it's good for me to just lay a little bit of the groundwork about basically what animal communication is. Animal communication is telepathy. It is nonverbal, non-physicalized communication. So before I give you those tips, I figure I should lay a little groundwork and explain to you a little bit about how telepathy works or how animal communication works. Okay, so telepathy is nonverbal, non-physical communication. Basically, it is perceiving very subtle vibrations, so feelings and thoughts. Now, the deal is that humans are born telepathic. Obviously, we don't have any language yet when we're babies, and it's something that we're just born with. Because in our culture, in the human culture, physical language or physicalized communication, including verbal communication, is emphasized. As a child develops, they start to de-emphasize the non-physicalized communication. And it doesn't mean that it completely goes away. It just basically means that we have less awareness of the fact that we do it, or we're not using it so intentionally. And again, it doesn't go away. I mean, there are the adult parents who are communicating with their babies telepathically. So it is something that we still do. And so here's an example that probably everyone can relate to. Let's say you have either your spouse or a partner or just someone that you're really close with. And just imagine you walk into a room, and before that person turns around, before you even really have any contact with them, see their face or anything, you can tell what mood they're in. I think everyone's had that experience. And that is, maybe it's because you have a feeling about it, or you just know. You just don't have to even be told. Well, that's telepathy. Now, regarding animals, they use telepathy or non-physical communication, and Delilah is now using her physical communication by crying at the door. And I invited you in, honey. You didn't want to come. And now Barnabas is at the inside of the door crying to go out. Oh my goodness. Back to the animals. The way they communicate, besides yelling their head off outside the door, they actually use telepathy as their primary language. So of course they develop verbal language or physicalized language and visual cues and all that too. But they're using telepathy primarily. So that does mean that your animals hear your thoughts. That's right. They're hearing your thoughts. Now, the thing is, they don't hear all of your thoughts. And that's because humans have about 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. That would be like trying to stand in the middle of Times Square and listen to all of the conversations. That's just too much. So that means that our animal family members are hearing some of our thoughts, and especially when we're not directing our communication to them. Now, you can just imagine picking up some of what's going on around the house can be really confusing and even anxiety-making around some topics. Now, the thing is that when we directly address them, they do hear us. Just like, someone calls your name in the middle of Times Square, you're going to turn around and pay attention, and you're able to block everything else out, or most things out. That's exactly what it's like. Now, just because they can hear us, of course, that doesn't mean that they listen to us. They do have free will, and if you love and live with animals, you, I'm sure, have experienced how they do assert their free will and their opinion anytime they want to. But the thing is, they will they will hear you. So here are a few tips about how you can keep your animal in the loop.